Patel walked into the federal hearing room with the same polished confidence he always showed on television. He straightened his tie, nodded at the cameras, and acted as if nothing could shake him. But today was different. Reporters whispered, senators watched closely, and even the guards seemed alert. Everyone expected something big. Senator Whitehouse sat at the center of the panel, flipping through a thick folder of documents. He lifted his eyes and spoke calmly. "Mr. Patel, you are under oath. Every word you say will be recorded." Patel smiled like it was a simple formality. "Of course. I will answer everything honestly," he replied. Whitehouse leaned forward. "Good. Let us start with something basic. Did you ever communicate with the consultant you mentioned in your television interview last week?" Patel did not hesitate. "No, never." Whitehouse snapped his fingers. A screen behind him lit up. Emails, dates, timestamps, full message lines. "Then what is this, Mr. Patel?" he asked. Patel froze. The room went silent. Cameras clicked softly in the background. "That must be someone using my name," Patel muttered. Whitehouse raised an eyebrow. "That is lie number 1. Let us move to lie number 2. Members of the committee exchanged looks. Patel swallowed hard. His confidence was crumbling. On the side, a judge observed everything, quietly making notes. It would take the judge only 41 seconds later to destroy Patel's entire defense. But that moment had not arrived yet. This was only the beginning. Patel shifted in his seat as Senator Whitehouse flipped to the next page of the binder. The room was tense now. Every eye locked on Patel like he was a witness at a high-profile trial. "Mr. Patel," Whitehouse said slowly, "let us continue. Last month you claimed you had no involvement in the internal memo concerning national procedures. Do you still stand by that statement?" Patel nodded too quickly. "Yes, I never saw that memo." Whitehouse lifted a printed document from the stack. "Interesting, because your initials are on the approval line. Twice." Patel blinked, leaning forward as if hoping the letters would magically disappear. "That is not my handwriting," he insisted. Whitehouse did not react. Instead, he pressed a button. A handwriting analyst appeared on the screen. "We confirmed it is your writing with a 98% match," the analyst reported. A wave of murmurs spread through the room. Patel opened his mouth, but no sound came out at first. Finally, he stammered, "Maybe I signed it without reading." Whitehouse calmly placed the memo down. "That is lie number 2. Let us proceed." Patel's jaw tightened. His hands gripped the table. His rehearsed confidence was slipping through his fingers. Across the room, the judge raised his eyes for the first time. He watched Patel like someone studying a puzzle already solved. He knew this defense would not survive long. The countdown of 41 seconds had quietly begun, and Patel had 5 more lies to go. Senator Whitehouse took a slow breath, as if giving Patel one last chance to gather himself. But Patel only stared at the table, already rattled by the first 2 lies being exposed in front of a national audience. Whitehouse turned another page. "Mr. Patel, let us address your statement from the previous hearing. You claimed you never met with the policy group that pushed the disputed proposal. Do you remember saying that?" Patel nodded firmly this time. "Yes, I was not part of that meeting." Whitehouse tapped his pen on the desk. "Then please explain why your security badge was scanned into the meeting room at 9:12 in the morning." The room erupted in whispers again. Patel looked like he had been struck in the chest. "That must be a system error," he said weakly. Whitehouse shook his head. "We checked. Twice. The scan happened, and the footage confirms you walking through the door." A second screen lit up behind Whitehouse. There it was. Patel entered the conference room, coffee in hand, greeting people casually as he found a seat. Patel closed his eyes briefly, realizing there was no way around it. "I do not recall this. I meet many groups. Maybe I forgot." Whitehouse marked another note. "That is lie number 3. A cold shiver ran through the audience. Each lie was getting harder for Patel to escape. His posture had changed completely. No more confidence, no more practiced answers. Just panic hiding behind professionalism. From the corner seat, the judge let out a quiet sigh. The judge now knew the final outcome. The defense Patel had brought today was nothing more than a collapsing tower, for lies remained, and the judge's 41-second demolition was getting closer. Patel adjusted his suit jacket as if tightening the fabric could hold his credibility together. But nothing could stop the momentum now. Senator Whitehouse was calm, steady, and methodical. Each page turn felt like another nail in Patel's offense. Whitehouse glanced at the next document. Mr. Patel, you stated under oath that you never attempted to influence the internal audit, correct? Patel sat up straighter, trying to regain control. That is correct. I kept a respectful distance from all auditing processes. Whitehouse pushed a small envelope across the desk toward him. Then you can explain this. Patel hesitated before opening it. Inside were printed messages, direct messages, each one carrying Patel's name, his profile image, his wording. Whitehouse continued, "These are your messages to an auditor. You asked for updates. You suggested changes. In one message, you offered to provide what you called a helpful outline for the final report." Patel's fingers trembled as he held the papers. Those messages were taken out of context. He argued, "I was only trying to clarify a misunderstanding." Whitehouse did not flinch. The audit team disagreed. They labeled this as improper interference. Patel swallowed hard, his voice losing its polish. "I was only trying to help. That is all." Whitehouse set his pen down. "That is lie number 4. A ripple went through the chamber. Patel's defense was collapsing faster with each revelation. He tried to steady his breathing, but the cracks were showing. Across the room, the judge leaned back slightly. The judge had seen hearings like this before, but never one where a witness unraveled this quickly. The 41-second reckoning was drawing near. Only 3 lies remained, and every one of them would push Patel closer to the breaking point. Be why now Patel's confidence had dissolved completely. He no longer looked like the bold television guest who always had a quick answer ready. Instead, he looked cornered, sweating lightly under the bright hearing lights. Senator Whitehouse continued with the same calm precision. "Mr. Patel, let us move on. Earlier this year, during a public briefing, you claimed you had no role in selecting the private contractors for the emergency response project. Do you still stand by that statement?" Patel took a breath, then nodded. "Yes, I had no influence in that process." Whitehouse lifted a set of printed call logs. "Our review found 12 phone calls between you and the project coordinator during the contractor selection period. All of them happened within the same 2-week window when the final decision was being made." Patel blinked rapidly. I make many calls. These could be unrelated." Whitehouse did not respond. Instead, he handed Patel a transcript. "In one call, you asked the coordinator if he had, quote, reviewed your suggestion. Do you deny this?" Patel's shoulders sank. The room was silent, waiting for the inevitable. "I may have offered an opinion, but that is not influence," he said cautiously. Whitehouse shook his head. "The coordinator testified that your suggestion shaped the final choice. That makes this lie number 5. Patel's face tightened. He pressed his palms together, trying to stop them from shaking. His explanations were getting thinner, weaker, almost desperate. In the back of the room, the judge tapped a finger on the desk. Patel did not notice it, but the judge had just finished outlining a short statement, the one that would dismantle Patel's entire defense in just 41 seconds. 2 lies remained, and Patel was running out of oxygen. Patel rubbed his forehead as if trying to push away everything that had already happened. But Senator Whitehouse was relentless, not out of malice, but out of duty. The truth had to surface, and Patel had placed himself directly in its path. Whitehouse turned to the next section of his folder. "Mr. Patel, during your media appearance last month, you insisted that you had never accessed restricted files related to the security incident. Is that still your testimony?" Patel straightened, trying to sound firm again. "Yes, I did not access any restricted files." Whitehouse clicked a remote. A new image appeared on the screen. It was a system log. "This is your login session. It shows you opened 3 restricted documents at 9:40 in the morning. All of them relate to the security incident you said you knew nothing about." Patel stared at the screen like it betrayed him personally. "That is impossible. Someone could have used my login. Whitehouse looked unimpressed. Your login requires a biometric confirmation, thumbprint, and personal code. Patel's mouth opened, but nothing coherent came out. I must have opened them by mistake. It was routine. I do not remember looking at anything. Whitehouse wrote a small note, his voice level and controlled. That is lie number 6. A low murmur filled the room again. Patel looked defeated, eyes darting from one senator to another, hoping someone would intervene. But no one moved. On the far side of the room, the judge glanced at the clock. The judge knew exactly when to step in. The final 41-second takedown was close now. Only one lie remained, the most damaging one of all. The hearing room felt heavier now, as if the air itself knew Patel was approaching the point of no return. Even the cameras zoomed in closer, sensing the final collapse. Senator Whitehouse rested his hands on the table. Mr. Patel, we have reached the last point. Earlier this year, you testified that you never attempted to influence public messaging during the internal investigation. Do you still maintain that? Patel nodded quickly. Yes, I never touched anything related to messaging. Whitehouse sighed softly, almost disappointed. Then you will need to explain this draft statement found on your work device. A document appeared on the screen, behind him. It was a full press statement with edits, suggestions, and highlighted lines. Every edit was labeled under Patel's username. Patel's voice cracked. That draft was never used. It was just an idea. Whitehouse met his eyes. You told us under oath that you never worked on messaging. Yet this document shows you not only crafted talking points, but tried to shift blame away from yourself. Patel's face went pale. His breathing quickened. I was simply preparing for possibilities. He whispered, everyone prepares drafts. Whitehouse shook his head. Not when they swear they never had any role. This is lie number 7. The room fell silent, the kind of silence that announces a final bell. Patel stared straight ahead, his expression empty, as if the truth had finally drained the last bit of resistance from him. Then the judge moved. Slowly, deliberately, the judge rose from the seat. The entire room focused on that single moment. The judge adjusted the glasses, cleared the throat, and spoke. Mr. Patel, your testimony today contains clear contradictions, verifiable inaccuracies, and repeated false statements. The evidence demonstrates a pattern of deliberate misrepresentation. I will address this fully now. It would take the judge only 41 seconds to dismantle Patel's entire defense. But that part comes next. The judge stood tall behind the bench. The room, once filled with whispers, became silent enough to hear the faint hum of the ceiling lights. Patel sat frozen, his hands clasped so tightly his knuckles turned white. The judge checked the clock, then spoke with a calm precision that cut sharper than any raised voice. Mr. Patel, the record shows 7 separate statements in your testimony that do not align with verified evidence. Each one was contradicted by documents, footage, or expert analysis. These inconsistencies are not minor. They indicate intent. Patel swallowed hard. The judge continued. You claimed you had no contact with a consultant. Evidence proved multiple exchanges. You denied involvement with a national memo. Your signature and an analysis confirmed otherwise. You said you never attended a meeting. Video footage placed you in the room. You denied influencing an audit. Messages show clear interference. You denied shaping contractor selection. Call transcripts contradict that. You denied accessing restricted files. Your biometric login confirms access. And finally, you denied working on messaging. Yet a full draft statement with your edits was discovered. The judge paused for 1 second, letting the summary hang in the air. Then came the finishing blow. Such repeated contradictions under oath severely damage your credibility. In this court, the truth is a requirement, not an option. Your defense collapses under its own weight. Patel closed his eyes, the words hitting him with the force of a final verdict. The judge added, further consequences will be determined after review, but let the record show that your testimony today cannot be relied upon. The judge's remarks ended at exactly 41 seconds. The room stayed silent. Cameras captured every expression. Shock, disbelief, even a hint of awe. Patel sat motionless, staring at the table as if the wood itself had condemned him. Senator Whitehouse folded his documents. The truth had won, and Patel knew it. The judge's 41-second demolition echoed through the hearing room long after the final word was spoken. For a moment, nobody moved. Cameras stayed locked on Patel, who looked like he'd been drained of every ounce of confidence he once carried. Then the reaction began. Reporters rushed toward the exits, whispering frantic notes into their microphones as they prepared breaking news alerts. Staffers exchanged wide-eyed glances. Even the senators, usually stoic and unreadable, shifted in their seats, clearly taken aback by how swiftly the judge had cut through the entire defense. Patel remained seated, staring at his hands as if hoping they might offer an escape. Senator Whitehouse closed the final folder. "Mr. Patel, this committee will reconvene after the full review. Until then, your testimony stands as recorded." His tone was steady, professional, but the message was unmistakable. Patel slowly lifted his head. His voice was barely audible. I did not mean for this to happen. I thought I could explain." Whitehouse looked at him calmly. "The truth needed no explanation. Your words did." Patel's eyes dropped again. He understood. The judge's statement had not just exposed his lies. It had erased the foundation he had tried to stand on. A staff member approached Patel. "You are excused for today." He nodded weakly and stood. The cameras followed his every step as he left the hearing room, each flash capturing a different angle of a man whose story had collapsed live before the nation. Outside the building, a crowd of reporters waited behind barriers. Microphones stretched forward. Questions flew toward him, fast and sharp. "Will you resign? Did you lie knowingly? Do you plan to appeal the judge's comments? What happens next?" Patel did not answer. He walked past them, head lowered, moving quickly toward the car waiting at the curb. Inside, he finally exhaled a long, shaky breath. His defense was gone, and now the consequences would begin. The car door shut behind Patel with a heavy thud, muffling the chaos outside. Reporters kept shouting questions, but through the glass their voices sounded distant, almost hollow. Patel leaned back in the seat, eyes closed, trying to process everything that had just happened. His phone buzzed nonstop. Calls, messages, missed alerts, notifications from news outlets already publishing headlines about his 7 lies under oath. One headline read, "Judge breaks Patel's defense in less than a minute." He turned the screen face down. As the car pulled away from the courthouse, Patel's advisor, seated across from him, spoke quietly. "This is bad. Really bad." Patel did not reply. "You need to prepare a statement." The advisor continued, something calm and measured. "You cannot stay silent." Patel finally opened his eyes. "Every statement I make turns into another problem," he said. "If I speak now, they will twist even more." The advisor sighed. "Silence looks like guilt. And right now, public perception matters." The car slowed as they reached Patel's office building. Protesters and cameras crowded the sidewalks, signs raised high. Some called for accountability. Others demanded resignation. Patel felt his stomach twist. Inside the building, staff members avoided eye contact. Offices that once buzzed with activity now felt cold, uncertain. A few whispered as Patel walked past. He entered his office and shut the door behind him. For the first time that day, he let himself sit in silence. The judge's words replayed in his mind, each one sharp and unshakable. 7 lies, 7 pieces of evidence, 7 collapses, and all of it on record. A knock sounded at the door. His chief legal advisor stepped in. "We need to discuss next steps," the advisor said. "There are potential consequences coming, and we must be ready." Patel nodded slowly. The fallout had only just begun, and there was no clear path out. Patel sat at the long wooden table in his office, surrounded by folders, notes, and unanswered messages. The entire country had watched his hearing, and now every hour brought a new wave of commentary, analysis, and criticism. His staff tried to manage the storm, but the damage was already done. His legal advisor placed a report in front of him. The committee will issue its formal findings soon. But the truth is, the judge's statement has already shaped the public verdict. Patel rubbed his temples. I thought I could handle the pressure. But once the first lie was exposed, the rest fell apart. The advisor nodded. You underestimated how thoroughly they had prepared. Whitehouse knew every document. The judge saw through every excuse. Patel leaned back in his chair, staring at the ceiling. I thought I could explain my way out. I thought confidence was enough. Confidence is not a substitute for truth, the advisor said gently. Outside his window, a small crowd had gathered again. Signs called for transparency. Others demanded accountability. Some simply watched, waiting for Patel's next move. His spokesperson entered the room cautiously. We need your decision. Do you want to release a public statement? If so, it must be today. Patel inhaled deeply. He looked at the door, as if expecting someone to walk in and give him the perfect answer. But no one would. Finally, he spoke. Yes, I will release one, and it will be honest. His staff exchanged surprised glances. Patel continued. I will acknowledge my mistakes. I will not deny what everyone saw. The judge laid out the truth clearly. I need to accept it. His spokesperson nodded slowly. People might respect that. It is better than silence. Patel stood, straightened his jacket, and walked toward the window. The crowd below kept chanting, unaware that the man they criticized was preparing to speak to them directly. He turned to his team. Draft the statement. No excuses. No clever wording. Just the truth. As the sun dipped lower behind the buildings, Patel felt something he had not felt since the hearing began. Not fear. Not panic. Relief. The lies were over. The defense was gone. And now, for the first time in a long time, he was ready to face what came next. The story of his collapse was complete, but the story of his accountability was just beginning.